He was frantically packing boxes, racing against time. By tonight, he had to be out of this house completely. But what could have possibly led to this desperate situation? For Michael, a 35-year-old office worker, his world came crashing down last month on the 10th. That's when his wife, Sarah, said she was visiting a friend and never came home. The call came 3 days later. Sarah, 33, had been found dead at a remote cabin in the mountains. But she wasn't alone. 3 strangers lay beside her, people she'd apparently met online. The police ruled it a group suicide pact. They found her note. "Michael, I know this will shock you, but you knew nothing about any of this, so you'll be fine. I'm sorry I'm leaving like this, with no explanation. I've always loved you." Michael couldn't understand it. Why would his perfect wife make such a choice? Sarah was everything he'd ever dreamed of. A graduate from an elite university, working at a prestigious corporation. When they married 7 years ago, she transformed his entire life. Her wealthy businessman father in America had supported them financially from day one. Michael went from struggling paycheck to living in luxury. Her family was loaded. Her dad was making millions in real estate overseas. I thought I'd hit the lottery marrying her. But now, as Michael stared at the eviction notice, reality hit him like a freight truck. This house, their dream home, wasn't theirs at all. For 2 years, Sarah had been paying $6,000 a month in rent. Michael had no idea. "Hello? Yes, landlord, this is the tenant. Yes, I'll have everything cleared out by tonight. We're 8 months behind on rent now. That's $48,000. Michael was discovering that everything he thought he knew was a lie. But the real shock came when police returned Sarah's phone. Inside were text messages between Sarah and her mother. Messages that made Michael's blood run cold. According to Sarah, her mother was in a coma, practically brain dead from a stroke. So how was this vegetative woman sending detailed text messages? At Sarah's funeral, Michael got his answer. When Sarah's parents walked in, he'd never seen them before in his life. The people at their wedding 7 years ago. Paid actors from a wedding service company. Michael's mind raced back to their beginning. They'd met 10 years ago when 23-year-old Sarah started as a temp at his office. She was beautiful, brilliant, and seemed to come from money. After 3 years of dating, they married. She landed her corporate job right before the wedding. Everything seemed perfect. She was the ideal wife. She took care of our 2 kids, treated my parents like royalty, never bought expensive things for herself. People used to tell me how lucky I was. While other guys saw their wives maybe once during holidays, Sarah would send my mom photos of our daughter every week. For 7 years, this devoted mother and wife never missed a beat. Which is why Michael's mother refuses to believe Sarah killed herself. She was such a loving person, always helping others, always putting family first. Just the day before she disappeared, she cooked dinner for your college friend David and his wife. No one at that dinner noticed anything wrong. Sarah seemed perfectly normal, laughing and chatting about weekend plans. But among Sarah's belongings, police found something disturbing. Dozens of unopened letters from debt collectors and the district attorney's office, all found in Sarah's car. But strangest of all, they found David's driver's license. A year earlier, Sarah had helped David buy an apartment below market value. David wired $400,000 for the down payment, but the move-in date kept getting delayed. When Sarah suddenly died, the truth emerged: no apartment purchase had ever existed. David trusted Sarah because he'd watched her buy their luxury home and his parents' condo at incredible discounts. Except now Michael learned the truth. Both properties were rentals, not purchases. I trusted her completely. From day one of our marriage, I gave her my entire paycheck. She handled everything financial. But if Sarah worked at this prestigious corporation, how did she end up running these scams? Michael decided to visit her workplace. "Are you family? I can direct you to the right department. If you'd like to inquire about an employee." The woman at reception had never heard of Sarah Mitchell. After checking every database, the truth was undeniable. Sarah had never worked there, not for a single day. For 7 years, Michael had watched his wife leave for work every morning. Where had she been going? Bank records revealed Sarah's final secret. She'd been sending massive amounts of money to someone named Robert Park. Even David's $400,000 went straight to Robert. When Michael tracked down Robert, another stunning revelation awaited. Sarah scammed me too. She said her father in America could get me into exclusive stock deals at below market prices. I trusted her completely. She was a regular customer at my restaurant for years, always seemed wealthy and legitimate. Robert had sent Sarah $16 million over 2 years, believing he was investing in overseas stocks that never materialized. When he realized the scam, he reported Sarah to police. She'd been under investigation for months. The woman Michael thought was his aunt, Sarah's only family member. He'd met, delivered the final blow. I'm not her aunt, and I was never a corporate executive. Sarah approached me about investments too. When I hesitated, she told me that you had borrowed from your company and your cousin to cover the deal. She said she was raising your cousin's kids because your cousin owed her money. Sarah had turned her own children into cousin's kids when it suited her story. Michael stared at his 2 young children, wondering had anything about their mother been real. School records showed more lies. Former classmates had no memory of Sarah. It was as if she'd erased her entire past to create this fictional perfect life. The day Sarah died was the day of her fraud trial. In her final hours, she'd sent goodbye messages to 4 people: Michael, a female friend, Robert, whom she'd scammed, and bizarrely the cabin owner where she died. A forensic psychologist analyzed her final messages. She treated her husband and a random cabin owner with equal emotional distance. For someone facing death after committing serious crimes, her messages show no real human connection. She viewed people as props in her performance. Just days before her death, Sarah had told her lawyer, "I keep wanting to end it all, but something stops me and I keep going." Perhaps Sarah had wanted to be the perfect protagonist in her dream life. Not the daughter of ordinary parents, but a wealthy heiress. Not a dependent wife, but a successful career woman, living in a mansion, driving luxury cars, yet somehow remaining humble and generous. To maintain this fantasy, she'd made everyone else supporting actors in her elaborate performance. But when the stage collapsed, she chose her final exit. The day she died was her trial date. What was going through her mind in those final moments? Looking at her suicide notes, they're filled with heart, emojis and playful language, like text messages. There was no fear of death whatsoever. She lived so dramatically that even her death became another dramatic performance. I believe she saw suicide as an escape, not an ending. Was their entire marriage just a failed play to Sarah? Were her years as a mother and wife completely fake? After 10 years of thinking he knew everything about the woman he loved, Michael realizes he knew nothing at all. He's left with 2 haunting questions. What was truly precious to you, Sarah? And who were you, really?